Hi, thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new, my name is Maddie and I've been doing declutter vlogs for over 10 years. This is part 2 of my ruthless declutter, getting rid of more than 50% of my makeup. So check the description for part 1, which also explains why I declutter and how I declutter. Enjoy. This drawer is eye products that are not eyeshadows or palettes. So we have eyeliners, glitters, cream shadows, loose glitters, liquid liners, mascaras, gel and cream liners, and brow products. Starting on this side, I do like to have multiple colors of liner. It's something I like to play around with a lot, but several of these are old, sadly, and need to be thrown out. This Nude Makeup Geek one I think is still fine for now. I'm going to keep this. I absolutely love the Urban Decay eyeliner pencils. This is Whiskey and Alkaline. They're beautiful, they work really well, but these are old, and it breaks my heart, but they need to be thrown out. This Maybelline Rusty Terracotta is so beautiful. I'm definitely keeping this. This is an Essence black liner. They recently sent me this in PR. I'm going to keep this one. I'm also going to keep this Julep black liner pencil I've been trying out. I bought this gray NYX liner to use for my eyebrows. Long story, but I'm not using it for anything. So I feel like I just need to give it away. So I think I'm going to give this away. 2 Ciate Edna Mode Collection liners. I'm going to keep these. This NYX Faux Whites in White Smoke. It's that light purple color. I think this is too old. Well, maybe not. It's pretty, but I don't use it, and I do think it is a bit old now, so I'm going to trash this. This one is so sad. I absolutely loved these. These are the Maybelline Lasting Drama Light Liners. I got these on clearance several years ago and used them quite a bit, especially this purple called Moonlight Purple. The rose gold kind of color is Shiny Bronze, and then I have the shimmery white called White Luster. Oh, I wish I had another one of these purple ones. So pretty, but old and need to go. Liquid liners here. I have a bunch of these stamp liners from Lottie London, which I really love. I have the blue peace sign, the purple heart. These are all black, but there's a heart, a smiley face, and a butterfly. These are super fun to have. I'm keeping all of these. Stila makes amazing liquid liners, but this is super old and needs to be thrown out. Hard Candy Marilyn Monroe liquid liner from Dollar Tree. I heard this wasn't good. I don't know why I bought it. I haven't even tried it. Should I try it or should I just go ahead and throw it out? I feel like I should at least try it once, and then if it's bad, I'll get rid of it. This is the Vasili Cosmetics Magic Eyeliner. I was sent this several years ago, so it's definitely old and needs to be thrown out, but it's literally magic. Like, your eyelashes just stick to it like glue, but it's not sticky and it's not magnetic. It's crazy. Highly recommend. I know some other brands make stuff like this. Really, really cool concept. I did really like this, but it's super old and needs to be thrown out. The Lottie London Stamp Liner Wing Edition has like a wing shaped stamp on it. I really enjoy this. It stays really well. Definitely keeping this. This is probably my favorite liquid liner right now. And I also have this mini Tarte Man Eater that I do like as well. I'm going to keep. Liquid liners go bad super fast, so I'm fine keeping a bunch because honestly they're going to have to be thrown out in a few months anyways. Okay, these are difficult for me. I have these liquid cream kind of glitters, Hard Candy, Heavy Metal, and Distortion I love and I've been using, and I recently got the Wet n Wild Care Bears one. I'm definitely keeping both of these. 2 Lottie London eye foils. I'm going to keep the white one, which is called Feels, but I'm going to give away the Savage one, which is the pink. I just don't really like pink. KBD Dazzle Stick and Hail Surge. This is really pretty. I am going to keep this. Joseph Colors Minnie Mouse Collection. I barely even used this, but it's old, so it needs to be thrown out, sadly. I love the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Liners. These are great. Honestly, these are a little old, but I don't want to get rid of them because they're pricey and I do really like them. If I try them again and they're irritating even at all, they'll definitely get thrown out, but I want to try to get some more use out of these. Ciate Shadow Flip. This dried out really quick. Throwing it away. This is actually an Anastasia liquid lip. The shade is called Madison. I bought it because that's my name. I really hate the Anastasia liquid lips. I put in here to try to use it as eyeliner and I never did. It's old. I'm going to throw it out. Some shadow sticks here. I have this Flower Beauty one. Again, another like random Dollar Tree purchase that I probably shouldn't have made. Oh, that's very pretty though. I'm very tempted to keep that. I don't know yet. I am going to keep this pretty blue Urban Decay one. NYX Jumbo Pencil and Milk, OG, but this is old. I'm going to throw it out. I do have a backup though. Wet n Wild, Keep Going, Waterproof, Black Shadow Stick. This is good to have on hand. I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to pass this on just because it seems like it doesn't really dry down well, and I just know it's going to transfer on my lids, so I'm going to get rid of that. Laura Mercier Caviar Stick. This was really pretty. It's in the shade Amethyst, but it's old, needs to be thrown out. This CoverGirl glitter, it's just kind of always looked gross and it smells really bad, so I'm going to throw it out. I think it's honestly expired even before I bought it, sadly. Oh, this is a hard one for me. These are the Smith & Colt Glitter Babies. I love these. They were such a cool concept. After you put them on, you rub them and they get smoky and darker. It's so, so cool. I really want to keep these, but they're a little bit old, especially for being like a cream eye product, except for this one. I bought this recently when they discontinued the line at Ulta. I'm gonna keep the jade shade for sure. I'm sorry, this is another one. I'm gonna have to keep them for now. We'll see if they irritate my eyes or anything, but they're just such a cool concept and they don't make them anymore. I want to try to get at least a little bit more use out of these. I also have 3 of the Smith & Colt glitter shots. I've never even used these. They're so pretty and beautiful. I am going to try to actually use them and play around with them. These are all my loose glitters. I also have a couple of things here like the Too Faced glitter glue, which does work really well, but this is old. I need to throw it out. And the NYX Multitasker Mixing Medium. This was pretty good, but again, old, needs to be thrown out. I am going to keep all of these loose glitters because there's no reason to get rid of them. I will try to use some in crafting projects though, at least so they get used, but I can keep those in their little baggie for when I want to use them. Mascaras. This is too much. I absolutely love the Lash Princess mascaras, specifically the waterproof is my favorite, so I'm keeping these. I love L'Oreal Telescopic for my lower lash line, but this one is super old and needs to be replaced, so I'm going to throw that out. Lottie Super Fake, it was fine. It's old though. Essence You Better Work Waterproof, it was fine. It's old though. I have really weak lashes, by the way, so maybe I'm not the best person to ask about mascaras because I really need something crazy amazing. The It Cosmetics Hello Lashes was fine, is old. The MAC Hot Naughty Lash, which has like 2 separate things, like you pull it out on this side and then you unscrew this part. And there's another one. Interesting concept, but it definitely wasn't anything exciting. And it's old. I can back to MAC this. These are all brand new. Frankly, these 2 have been sitting in my drawer for years. Hopefully they still work. I do want to try them and I've wanted to try these ones. So I'm going to hang on to these. These are the AOA Studio Buttercream Gel Liner Cream Shadow things I got from Miss A. I bought several and I just was not a fan. I shouldn't have bought this many, and the ones that I did open have already completely dried out. So the ones that are opened, I'm going to throw out, and the ones that are still sealed, I'm going to give away. MAC Painterly Paint Pot. I love that sound. Anyways, this is old and dried up, so I'm going to back to MAC it. Honestly, I don't think this is worth the hype either. MAC Fluid Line, which is gel liner in shade. This is a beautiful dark green shade. I loved it, and these work really well, but this one is old and needs to be thrown out, so back to MAC. And this Pretty Vulgar black gel liner, I never even used it, but it's several years old and it's been opened many times, so unfortunately this just needs to be thrown away. I hate the waste. We're making a change though, but this needs to be trashed. Then all my brow products, I have Benefit Gimme Brow in gray. I really like this. I use it all the time, definitely keeping. I have the Benefit Brow Styler. This has like a powder on one end and a pencil on the other. It's not amazing, but I've just been trying to use it up. It came in a boxy charm. I'm gonna keep this for now. 2 mini Benefit Clear Brow Gels, honestly a little old, but it's just clear brow gel, so I'm gonna keep them for now. The Lottie London Mega Brow, which does the feathered soap brows kind of thing in clear. I really love this, definitely keeping it. LA Girl Shady Slim, good thin pencil, gonna keep this. Anastasia Brow Wiz, although this is a good pencil, this is not the right shade for me, so I'm gonna actually put this with my brow waxing stuff to use it when I wax my brows as brow mapping, so I get more use out of it. A brand new Benefit Precisely My Brow, not quite the shade I use anymore, but I might be able to make it work. I'm gonna put this in my backup drawer. I may end up giving it away. Essence Make Me Brow Eyebrow Powder. This is not my shade and it's very old, so I'm going to get rid of it. Benefit Highbrow, I do really love. It's a nice brightening eye pencil for under the brows. It also is nice when your brows are a little grown out and need to be waxed. Anyways, this one's really old and needs to be thrown out. Benefit Goof Proof. This is super old and like dried out and basically gone anyways, so that's trash. And then this is actually the Lottie Freckle Tint, which I haven't played with too much, but I do want to, so I'm gonna keep this. All right, here's the giveaway to friends and family bin now. I did have to upgrade to a bigger bin. This is the trash bin now. It's getting pretty full. This is everything I'm keeping for now. This is still a bit excessive, but since they're eye products, several of these are probably going to be thrown out within the next few months. It's better. It's not amazing. Let's move on. Here's a look at my eyeshadow drawers before I pull them out. These are actually spice racks from IKEA. These are single shadows, pigments, and small palettes. This drawer is all mostly neutral palettes. This drawer is very full. It's mostly colorful palettes. Okay, here's the first of my eyeshadow drawers, single shadows, pigments, and some small palettes. I don't know why there's some small palettes here and elsewhere. Anyways, let's go through these. First of all, Buxom sent me some of their eyeshadows, but they only fit in their own palette, and they didn't send me the palette to put these in. So they've just been kind of sitting here in their boxes because I don't have like a proper place to put them. So honestly, I might email the company and be like, hey, was I supposed to get a palette for these? Because I don't have the palette for them. And put them in there, and so I can actually try them out. So we'll see. I don't know what to do with these right now. Everyday favorite, Wet n Wild Brulee. I just put this all over my lid because it matches my skin tone really well to help like mute out my eyelids and keep them from being oily. I have several backups of this. Love it. Always keeping. The Ulta Beauty brand is odd, but this is really nice. This is the Glitter Eye Top Coat in Fairy Princess. Very pretty and glittery. I'm keeping this. If you followed me for a long time, you might recognize this. This is the Milani Baked Eyeshadow in I Heart You. I've had this for a really long time, and it's very pretty. That's with it a little bit wet, but I just feel like I need to get rid of it because it's so old. And I'm sure at this point I have other eyeshadows and palettes that are similar to this. So I'm gonna put this aside for now. I'm probably gonna get rid of it, but I wanna make sure I have a good match because it's a beautiful shade. These three shadows my dad got me in France. He picked them out himself. I think is it Beijing? I have no idea how to pronounce it. I'm very sorry. I'm definitely keeping all of these, and they actually work really, really well. I have two MAC single shadows left in my collection. This one is Smoky Mauve. I was gonna get rid of this, but I just used it again recently, and it's so pretty. I love it, so I'm keeping this. This is from the MAC Good Luck Trolls collection, Suns Out, Buns Out. I used to use this all the time, especially in the summer. Very pretty. It doesn't quite work as well as it did before, so I'm not really gonna technically get rid of this. I'm just gonna pull it out of this drawer. I'm gonna have a drawer for nostalgia and just memories because I love makeup so much, and I've grown up with some of this stuff that makes me so happy. I like to look back on things, so I'm going to keep this because of its adorable packaging, but I'm not going to use it anymore because it's a bit old. Several ColourPop Super Shock shadows. I absolutely love these, but they're kind of a cream powder formula, so a bunch of them have dried out and just need to be thrown away, which makes me so sad because they're so pretty. Okay, I swatched these all. The only one I'm going to keep for now is Set to Stun. I do love these. I do want to get more. I'm going to try to get some more use out of them, but the rest of them are old and need to go. This beautiful Disney collection one, Under the Sea, I'm going to put in my memory box because how cute. So I'm getting rid of Seeker, Party of Five, which I think this is the one that made me look like I have pink eye, so not a big fan. So Quiche, which is really, really pretty, but it's dried out. Also Fluffy and Tea Party. Those all need to be thrown away. Pigments. Pigments pretty much last forever, and even in 5 lifetimes, I'll never be able to go through these whole MAC pigments, but I'm going to keep them. Maybe I can pawn some sample sizes off to some friends. So I'm keeping all the full-size ones. I'm also going to keep the 2 minis I have, at least for now. I used one recently and I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I want to give them another try, and if I still don't like using them, I will get them away, but keeping. And this is a very old sample of a MAC pigment, but it still works, so I'm gonna keep it. But this Medusa's makeup one in Comet, I'm just simply not gonna use. It's pretty, but I'm not gonna use it, so I'm gonna give this away. Back here, I have an Art Bin palette, which I got from the Container Store and used it as like my own Z palette. It's not dirty, by the way. This is just like residue that would never come off. Anyways, there's some random old products in here. These are Urban Decay This is an old CoverGirl shadow in 325. This does not work anymore. That needs to be thrown out. This is an Ofra highlighter that does still work. Oh my gosh, look how beautiful that is. Every time I swatch this, I'm like, why don't I use this? I have to keep that. I'm gonna keep the rest of these and just throw this one out. Do you remember these old Wet n Wild Color Icon 6 palettes? This is the shade Greed. I loved this. These were so beautiful. Wet n Wild shadows are awesome. I'm going to keep this in my nostalgia bin because it's just old at this point. I have a Benefit They're Real Duo Shadow Blender Easy Smokin'. I got this when I worked for Benefit in Ulta, and it seems really gimmicky. You like roll this in here, but it kind of works like surprisingly well. So I'm going to keep this for now. I haven't used it. Actually, I haven't used this specific one ever. I used to have other shades. I'm going to keep it for now. I'm going to try it soon, and if I'm like, nah, this isn't worth it, I'll get rid of it, but it's kind of fun, so I'm going to keep it. Then I have the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Quad, and this is very pretty, very elegant, but honestly fairly boring, so I'm going to give this away. Okay, these Buxom shadows, they are very pretty. I especially like this shade called Filthy Rich, but I just don't have a palette to put them in because they're not magnetic, and I have shades like this and everything else, so I'm just going to go ahead and give these away or donate them because I just don't need them. Okay, these are all my eyeshadow palettes that are mostly neutral. This is far, far too many, but I will say with eyeshadow palettes, this is going to be the hardest for me to get rid of. I get really attached to them, and I like lots of formulas. I'll like one shade in this palette and one shade of that palette and want to keep them all. And it's hard for me to get rid of them even when they're old, but I don't need this much. It's excessive. I don't use them all. I really need to try to pare down, so I'm going to do my best. Let's start. First ones that are never going anywhere are my Natasha Denona palettes. I have 3 here. They're absolutely beautiful. They're amazing quality. Love these. Use them all the time. Keeping. Another great palette is the Buxom Ash K Home palette. This is just, they're great shadows and it's a great variety and they work well. I really, really like this one. I was happily surprised with it. Lorac, oh my gosh, if you've never tried Lorac shadows, they're so amazing. I have had this palette for longer than I'd like to admit, but it's so beautiful. The original Pro palette, you get a row of matte and a row of shimmer. They still work so well. So I can't let myself get rid of this. I would love to replace it with a brand new one of the exact same thing just because this is very old, because it's so awesome and I love it, but I'm gonna hang on to it for now. If any irritation occurs, of course, I will get rid of it, but so far it's been fine. Check out their shadows. I also have the Lorac Mega Pro 2 palette. This one is old as well. Again, beautiful. I'm not as big of a fan of this color story, but they are some great shadows. I do need to reach for this more. I might get rid of this soon just if I don't really like the color shade, like the color story anymore, but I'm going to keep it for now because they are beautiful shadows. This Lancome 12 Shades of Love palette I literally bought for the packaging. I love doing this. It's so much fun. I don't even care about what's in it anymore. The shadows are very subpar. It's not an exciting color story, but I love the packaging. I need to display this. It's just so cute. I'm keeping it. Don't judge me. Or do judge me. I don't care. The original Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. I've had this for several years, and I don't really know if the formula stands up or if it's changed because it's old and it's just kind of gone bad. So this is kind of on my radar to try and use again and decide if I really want to keep it because it does have a nice range of colors. But you know what I might do at the end is pull all my palettes I'm keeping back out again and compare and see if too many are too similar, and then maybe get rid of some more. So this is very much on the fence. We'll see. I don't know. I just don't really reach for it much anymore. As you can see, I mean, it looks really nice still. The Pure Grinch Good Enough to Steal palette. This is so cute. Look at this pop-up that's in the top of it. I loved that they actually came out with a true Christmas palette. The glitters in it have probably gone bad, sadly. The powder products are fine. They're nothing amazing, but I do like them. Specifically keeping this for the packaging, I do display it at Christmas. It's so cute. I could technically like put this in another drawer though, like more my memory drawer, but I could still use the shadows. We'll see. The Dose of Colors mini collection. I got this on super clearance not too long ago. They are pretty, they work nice. I like the blush in it, so I'm going to keep it. I honestly probably shouldn't have purchased it because I just didn't need it, but now that I have it and I've used it and it's nice, I'll keep it. I've kept too much already. Yikes. I have the Anastasia Soft Glam palette. They make great shadows. This is a really great neutral palette. I'm going to keep this. The ColourPop Disney Designer Princess Collection. The color story is a little weird, but the shadows are really nice. And of course, the packaging is amazing. I'm going to keep this, if not just for the packaging. ColourPop You Had Me at Hello. This is a really pretty palette, really nice formula. I specifically really like this shade, and I keep hanging on to it, but I honestly never reach for it because I have too much. So I think it's finally time to let this one go, as beautiful it is, because like I look at this and I'm like, oh my God, I love that shade, but I have it elsewhere. I need to pass this on to somebody who doesn't have these elsewhere. Persona Identity 2 palette. This is from a BoxyCharm. Several of these are from BoxyCharm. These are beautiful. They wear really well too. They apply really beautifully. Look at this green. Oh my gosh, that's so stunning. I just feel like I can't get rid of this. I've only used it a little bit. It is fairly new to me still. I need to get more use out of this. I do like this. I want to keep this one. This excites me. Then I have the Violet Voss Olive You Forever palette. This is another really beautiful palette I have used and I do really like. But the thing is, I feel like these two are fairly similar. Do you see what I mean? Do you see a lot of similarities in these color stories? So I feel like it's stupid for me to keep both, but I just cannot decide. I truly need to swatch these side by side and maybe do a side by side comparison, putting them on my eyes to really decide which one I want to keep, because I don't need both, but they are beautiful and they do both work really well. So this is another thing I'll reevaluate once I've gone through everything. Smith & Colt, you know I have a soft spot for them and this no longer exists. This is the Dusk Blaze palette. It's a really beautiful, simple, neutral palette and I used to use it all the time. I think I'm gonna have to keep this one. Even if I stop using it, I wanna put this in my nostalgia bin because this brand no longer exists and I love them. This is my first Morphe purchase. This is the 9A Always Golden palette. Morphe makes great shadows that are inexpensive. This is really pretty. I used it a lot, but I haven't used it in a while, and I simply have too much. So we're gonna pass this on. The OG Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette. I love this. Again, I love Wet n Wild shadows. I've specifically kept it for this shade right here, but I think I have a dupe for this in a different palette. So I'm gonna put this in my memory drawer. I'm not getting rid of it altogether because this is so like nostalgic for me, but I'm gonna take it out of my makeup I actually currently use palette and put it in the nostalgia drawer. If you like makeup nostalgia, by the way, check out my TikTok. I have the Urban Decay Naked 2 Basics palette. This is super old. I've used the hell out of it. I don't know if you can tell, but these have huge divots in them. I really loved this, but it's super old, so I need to throw this out. Also, the packaging's like sticky and gross now. I also have the Urban Decay Naked 3 Mini. This is a newer product Urban Decay sent me. It is nice, but frankly, it's just a little boring and I don't reach for it, so I'm gonna pass this on to somebody else. This is my original MAC palette. I loved this. I loved creating my own little palette here. I cannot quite explain to you why I chose the colors that I did. I'm going to share this on TikTok soon and share all the colors. I don't use this anymore. These are all old, especially this top row. Very old, but this is definitely going in my nostalgia memory bin. And two more, Urban Decay Naked, the original, and Naked 2. The Naked 2 is actually much older. My dad surprised me with this when it first came out when I was in high school. I loved it. I used it a ton. I really only used the lighter shades, but now I like these darker shades. But this is really too old to use. This is gonna go in my memory bin though. And then the original Naked palette, I've barely used. I bought this several years after it came out. It definitely does not excite me, but this was such like a classic. I'm gonna put this in my memory bin as well. And the memory bin might be weird for y'all, but I love it. It makes me happy, so who cares? I only trashed one palette. I'm only donating 3. This is not going great. These are all my palettes that are mostly colorful. This is way too much. I love colorful palettes. I love having options, but this is just frankly way too much. Let's start with this stack here in the middle. These are a bunch of Lottie London palettes. Beautiful products, work really well, and they're inexpensive. I definitely recommend them, but I simply don't need all of them. I'm gonna keep the Ibiza palette. I really like this one. The Mauves, I simply don't need it. I'm going to donate this. Raspberry Ripple, very cute, just don't need. I don't even know if I've technically used this one. I I do like the Honeybee palette. I think this one's really cute. I'm going to keep this one. And I'm also going to keep the Proud to Be Pride palette I fairly recently got. I keep the sleeve on it because it's so cute. I have the Natasha Denona Mini Lila palette. I love these shadows, like I said, so I'm definitely keeping this. Another Smith & Colt palette here. This is the Lilac Flash one. This one's really pretty, but I feel like I'm keeping one of them. I really don't reach for this. I do love it, but hopefully a friend of mine can get use out of this. So I'm going to donate this to friend, family, or that website. I guess I'm just doing all the small palettes. This is the I Like to Mauve It palette from Essence. They recently sent me this and I have been liking it and trying it, so I'm going to keep this one for now. The Huda Beauty Electric Obsessions. I got this many years ago for Christmas, and I have to say it works really well. I'm not really a big Huda Beauty fan, but I do like this palette, so I think I'm going to keep it for now. The Wet n Wild Fantasy Makers Boogie Nights palette. I got this last Halloween. I thought this was a great colorful option at the drugstore. I think I'm going to keep this one for now. I do want to play with it more. Love Wet n Wild. I apologize if you can hear someone mowing their lawn outside. This is the Smashbox Cover Shot palette in a Blaze. I loved this. I used to use it quite a bit, but I really haven't used it in a while. I do like it. It's good quality. It's really pretty, but I'm like, I don't reach for it. I need to compare this to my other like red tone palettes. Red tone palettes were such a thing for so long and I loved them, but now it's really not something I go to very often. So I think I want to compare this to others, like some of the neutral palettes. I'll put this one aside for now. Okay, the Ace Beauty Falling For You palette. I'm a huge fall fan. I love fall and Halloween and all things spooky, and this is the only like fall themed thing I have, and they're really beautiful shades, so I do want to keep this. It makes me happy. The Kat Von D Pastel Goth palette. This is obviously old. It came out several years ago. I really loved this though. This was a really nice matte pastel palette. I feel like it might still work good enough to actually use, so I'm gonna keep it. If I try it and it's irritating or I feel like it doesn't work the same, I'll probably put it in my nostalgia bin, but this was a great palette. Do you remember the Urban Decay Electric palette? This is the original one. Obviously, this is old, beautiful, very pigmented shadows. Loved it, but this should not be used on my eyes anymore. I'm going to put this in my nostalgia bin. How could I not hang on to this for nostalgic purposes? If you're a makeup junkie like me, you get it. Couple Anastasia palettes here. I have the Norvina palette. This one's really pretty. I do like several shades in here quite a bit, so I'm going to keep this one. I also have Modern Renaissance. Of course, a classic. I used to use this all the time. It's a little bit old, but I just feel like I have to keep it. This is going to be on the fence for me. I'm going to compare this to my other red tone palettes, and then also I'm going to use it again soon and see, does the formula hold up? Do I still really love it? Or is it time to go? I don't know. It was just such a cult classic. It feels weird to get rid of it. We'll compare. The NYX Sugar Trip Squad. I have kept this for so long just for this one matte periwinkle shade. It's a very pretty shade and I don't have any other colors like it, but I honestly never reach for it, even this. So I think it's time to finally let this palette go. This is the Alamar Cosmetics Reina del Caribe palette. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that. This is a beautiful palette. It's very summery to me. The shadows work really well. I'm definitely going to keep this one. This is the Nomad Cosmetics Marrakesh palette. This is beautiful. They're really beautiful shades. They work well, but I just honestly never reach for it, so I think I'm going to pass this one along. The Morphe Lisa Frank 35B palette. I was so excited to get this because I wanted the 35B palette for so long. Honestly, the formula feels a little bit different on these than the rest of the Morphe shadows, but I have to keep this. I mean, it's iconic. Look at the packaging. I'm going to display this. It's so cute. This is the Morphe 35V Stunning Vibes palette. Several years ago on YouTube, I did a If I Were a Minimalist makeup collection, and this is like one of the very few palettes that I kept for that video, and it is a great palette. I think it has a great range of shadows. I think this is the shade that's similar to that Wet n Wild shade that I like, so I'm going to keep this. I think this is a really good staple, although I don't reach for it as much. This has like everything I truly need. Good palette. This is the e.l.f. J. Kissa To The Rescue palette with custom stickers that you could put on it. I really, really love this palette. I think it's great. I love the colors. I love the pigmentation. It's a great colorful palette I'm keeping. The ABH Norvina Volume 3 palette. This was in a boxy charm fairly recently. The color story is a little messy in here if you ask me, because it's just, I don't like when things are unorganized. I'm on the fence about this one. I want to try it some more. I do think it has some unique shades, but again, the color story really throws me off and just how it's organized. So I'm going to try this again soon and really decide, but I'm on the fence about this one. I have two Juvia's Place eyeshadow palettes. These are amazing eyeshadows. If you've never tried them, I highly recommend. I have the Zulu palette and the Warrior 3. Absolutely beautiful, incredibly pigmented. I love these. I'm definitely keeping both of these. This is the Lime Crime Venus 3 palette. This is really pretty. I did like it. I did a really pretty look. I loved with it, but I have these shadows in other palettes. I'm pretty damn sure. I'll double check and compare, but I'm going to pass this along because I just really don't reach for it. I don't need all this. Oh, the Sugar Pill Little Twin Stars eyeshadow palette. I, of course, bought this for the packaging. Look how freaking cute. I love Little Twin Stars, but I was super disappointed in this palette. This green shade was very not great, and that's really why I bought it. That in the packaging, it's just not great, which is very sad. I'm gonna put this in my nostalgia bin though, or display it because it's so cute, but I don't use it. The e.l.f. Mad for Matte eyeshadow palette in Jewel Pop. I loved this. I used to use this shade for my eyebrows when that was my hair color. This is a really beautiful palette, but I feel like it doesn't work the same as it once did. Like, the formula has kind of dried out a bit, so I think it's finally time for it to go, sadly. And lastly, the Ciate Edna Mode Collection palette. They sent me this, and it's super cute, but it's so annoying. You have to turn this little thing to open each of the little doors to get to the products. Let me open it all so you can see. So it has 6 eyeshadows and 2 blushes, and they're pretty, they work nicely, but they're nothing exciting for me, and the packaging's just annoying, so I'm gonna pass this on to somebody else. Okay, I went through again and I did some comparing and some swatching, and I've decided to get rid of the rest of these as well. Not because they're bad or I dislike them, just because I already have too much. I already have these shades and other palettes. I don't need to keep something just because I really like it too. It's just a waste. I'd rather someone get use out of it. And this one, I like it, but I realized I was keeping it because it's called Honeybee, and I think that's cute. That's just a dumb reason to keep something. This Milani shadow, I'm gonna put in my nostalgia bin just because I've had it for so long and I've loved it for so long. I did compare the Violet Voss All of You Forever and the Persona Identity 2 palette, and I just simply liked the Persona one much more, so that's the one I'm going to keep, and I'm gonna pass this one along. Smashbox Ablaze, I just simply don't reach for it anymore, and I have these colors and other palettes, so I'm gonna pass this on. Passing that on. I really shouldn't have bought this. As cute as it is a little colorful drugstore palette, I didn't need it, so I'm gonna pass this on. And then I am gonna get rid of the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. It's pretty. Some of the colors don't swatch quite the same anymore, and I just don't reach for it. I'm gonna reach for my other Morphe 35 palette and not this one, so I'm going to see if anybody wants this. If they don't, because it's a little bit old, I might have to throw it away, sadly. So I'm passing on 16 palettes, which it could be better, but this is definitely a good start. Throwing out 2 because they're old and they just don't work the same. These are a couple products I'm on the fence about that I really want to try more and decide, do I really need these or do I want to keep these? So there's some things on the radar still. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to come back for part 3. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I'm super active there. It's at Madi Hearts, and it's linked down below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and be sure to subscribe. Bye.